Welcome, Reds, the 100% United pod. I'm your host, TC, and I'm joined by your co-host, Scott. Hello, mate.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, pal. All right, I've been better.
Yeah.
On today's show, we reflect on tonight's 1-1 draw away to Spurs. Plenty of talking points. What do you think, Scott? Happy with the point or disappointed with that?
Well, after 79 minutes, 1-0 down, I probably would have taken a point, but it's certainly not the start I would have hoped for. Having been expecting football for the last 103 days, it wasn't the first half I would have expected.
No, it wasn't at all. I mean, let's start with the lineup. We started with a 4-3-3. It wasn't really a 4-2-3-1, was it? It was really a traditional 4-3-3. What do you make of the lineup? No Pogba in there. Of course, we went for Fred, McTominay and Bruno in midfield. No Matic protecting the defence. What do you make of the lineup?
I was maybe pleasantly surprised that we weren't playing back five. I did think that one way to get in behind Tottenham was through their full-back, so I wanted us to play with wingers. So I was happy to see Dan James start. And as I said to you, if Pogba can only play 45 minutes, it's probably best he plays the last 45 minutes, as much as I did want him to start. So I do understand that a bit. To be honest, the main surprise was not seeing Matic in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our defence really benefits from having Matic in there ahead of him. Look, if we're going to go for a McTominay, Fred and Bruno, why not go for a Pogba, Bruno and one of them? Because, it's not like we're shoring up the defence at all. But we did start well, really, for the first 15 minutes, you'd have to say. Rashford started sharply. We were pressing, weren't we? That front three with Bruno behind. But we did look vulnerable over the top, didn't we? That back four did look exposed.
Yeah, and as you say, we played that sort of flat middle three. And you're right, there was a lot of space behind them and in front of them. They sort of were a bit rigid at times.
Yeah, and it was the old thing, wasn't it? When we dominate possession, we usually don't get a positive result. And after 15 minutes, we had 60% possession. Look, John Moss had a bit of a dodgy game, I thought, all round, really. I mean, there was a Lamella hack, which there was no yellow forthcoming. But in that first sort of 25 minutes, we did look pretty positive, didn't we? I mean, we looked like we'd come out of the break better than Spurs.
Better than Spurs. I was. We pressed very well. I wasn't very impressed with the ball retention, especially in their half.
No, it was the final ball, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of almost hit and hope. But just before 25 minutes, 22nd minute, Rashford had that monster chance, didn't he?
Yeah.
Absolute golden chance, which Lloris kept out. You've got to say he should have done better there, really.
Yeah, it was a great save, though. I think if De Gea had made that, we'd be all over it. But he should have scored it.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we had another chance where McTominay put James away, and then it was crossed too high for Rashford, and then the big turning point of the game on its head, really, when Bergwijn took on Maguire. Shaw caught out of position there. De Gea, absolutely awful.
Yeah. That's poor. Completely against the run of play as well. It was actually when we were starting to maybe build up a bit of attacking momentum, and just all went out the window.
It really did. I mean, Shaw out of position. Maguire, it was awful defending from him. Lindelof didn't get across either. But De Gea, I mean, I know goalies make mistakes, but that was inexcusable. I mean, he could have just sucked that into his belly, surely. I mean, there was no rhyme nor reason to be parrying that into the roof of the net.
Yeah, and it's the old adage that we keep saying, that we keep seeing him let goals in that he would save 9 times out of 10 or almost 10 times out of 10. Now, last year we saw him make 11 saves at the Tottenham Stadium. Let's say 7 or 8 of them were absolute worldies, and then we see him let something in that, I mean, last season wouldn't have even been talked about as one of his good saves.
No, it wouldn't at all, and I think sometimes we set the bar so high with De Gea and we criticise him sometimes when he lets one in because we think he should save it. But that, I mean, if a second division keeper chucked that in, you'd be saying, God, what's he doing? I mean, it was that bad. It really was, in my opinion.
Yeah, but let's just move on.
Yeah, I mean, Keane said he'd be throwing punches at Maguire and De Gea. He said he was totally fed up with De Gea. And he'd be throwing punches around the dressing room. So that was his reaction to it, and I felt the same, I must say. Look, we had another chance from Rashford again when he didn't really react to a free kick from Fred, and then De Gea did make a good save from Son, didn't he?
Was a good save.
It it was a good save. I mean, still down the middle. I mean, it's something you expect a Premiership keeper to save, but it was a good save, and he did tip over the bar nicely, you must say.
Yeah, credit where it's due. That was a good save.
Yeah. I mean, Danny James was booked on the 41st minute. I mean, it seemed the same kind of thing as Lamela. He obviously did kick out, but so did Lamela. But I think Jonathan Moss did relish not having a crowd and being able to do whatever he wanted.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like. Well, he always likes to make himself the centre of attention, doesn't he?
The worrying thing for me, mate, was that after the goal, our shape went all over the place. I mean, we did look vulnerable even that first 25 minutes when they attacked us, but after the goal, it really did just go all over the show, didn't it?
It definitely did, and it's true to our form. It's happened for a couple of years now that as soon as we concede a goal, everyone's heads go, and it takes 5-10 minutes for everyone to even look half positive after that.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, first half, 64% possession, and we go in 1-0 down. What did you make of no substitutes at half time, mate? I mean, I was tearing my hair out. I was saying all kinds of things to the TV screen. I mean, from that performance, with the players we had on the bench and with their obvious performances on the field that could be replaced, I mean, come on, you've got to be pressing the button there, surely. I mean, we left it to the 62nd minute, didn't we? 20 minutes into the second half, and we ran out of time in the end.
Yeah, that's pretty unforgivable, especially because I don't know who he said it to, but an interview from Ollie surfaced last night that if Pogba was going to play, he could only play 45 or 60 minutes. So we sort of made the impression that he was going to at least start. And yeah, I was pretty surprised, especially because he came out and warmed up during half time. I thought he was going to come on at half time, but I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, we said it on the pod earlier in the week, didn't we? We got 5 subs, but Ollie has a tendency to leave it too late, and it was screaming out for it. It really was. After that first half, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. When Pogba was warming up at half time, I thought, here we go. We saw what happened when he did come on, and yeah, we waited. I mean, we had the Bruno break and shot that went centimetres wide, but really, we were just waiting for Pogba and Greenwood to come on in 67th minute. Greenwood and Pogba on for James and Fred, and everything changed, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. If anything, Ollie isn't as quick with his substitutions that he needs to be. He usually makes the right one, but it's usually 5-10 minutes too late.
Yeah. I mean, Marshall had a golden chance. Pogba and Bruno linked up, and then Shaw did superbly down the left. I must say, the second half, Shaw's attacking was great. Brilliant little tackle and cross into Martial, and Lloris produced a wonder save, didn't he?
That was a great save. Similar to De Gea's.
Yeah. And we were pouring on the pressure. And then on, 61st minute, there was a drink break. I mean, what's going on? I mean, it's a night game in London. You cut all our pressure off. You let Mourinho rejig his side. He brought on Lo Celso and Fernandes, didn't he, for Bergwijn and Lamela. And you're just thinking, why is there a bloody drink break?
Yeah. Saved by the bell, weren't they?
They really were. I mean, we're pouring it on. And then again, it set us back another. Like you say, we don't react well to these breaks, to these things that pop up. And again, it took us another 10 minutes to bloody get the engine going again.
Yeah, and it's just a shame because we actually came out of that break with Pogba on the field so much more positively than we did for the second half, and it was just disappointing that if we have made the substitution 15-20 minutes earlier, maybe we could have come out the second half with that much intensity.
100%. And if you want to catch Mourinho, no problems, do it on 50 minutes. But don't wait to blooming
till he's parked the bus.
Well, of course. Yeah. It was bonkers stuff, really. Yeah. I mean, really, really crazy stuff. 76.
He usually, Mourinho usually makes the right substitutions when he's winning. As soon as he's losing it, they all go out the window. But it was stupid just to play. The game was playing more and more and more into his hands the longer it went, and it was just. I'm going to say it already. With one game in, already going to say it was tough to watch.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we did say, didn't we? We said the last thing we want to do was go 1-0 down and let Mourinho, with all those subs, bring on defensive subs and blooming tick down the clock. And it's exactly what we did. 77th minute, we brought on Igalo and Matic for Martial and Lindelof and put McTominay centre-back. Again, a bit weird stuff from Ollie. I mean, you've got another sub there.
Yeah.
Which you brought on the 89th minute. You brought Bailly on for McTominay. I mean, sure, they were sitting back, but we still looked vulnerable on the break. Maguire's screaming out for someone with a bit of pace beside him. It just seemed like weird management.
Well, I could kind of understand it because at that time Tottenham really weren't posing a threat whatsoever. So to bring Matic on, I thought if anything, Matic was going to play as that hybrid centre back. But you're right, it was more McTominay, and it was a strange one.
Reminded me when Mourinho played McTominay centre back and tried to get a sack, didn't he?
Yeah, it was playing Mourinho games against him.
Yeah, look, on the 80th minute, Pogba showed us what he's all about. Absolutely sensational stuff, unbelievable skill. Skin Dyer, you text me before the game, rubbing your hands with glee, saying Eric Dyer's playing centre back, trying to have a Eric Bailly style haircut as well. Brilliant stuff from Pogba. Wins the penalty. What do you think of the penalty? Do you think it was a spot kick?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I thought you were going to ask how was I during Bruno Fernandes' run-up, in which case I was going to say I was behind the couch. Yeah, that was tough. Especially because now you know it's coming, that little hop.
Well, he didn't do it.
That was the thing. That was the worst part.
Tricked you.
Yeah, got me. Got everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. But Pogba skill, what do you make of that, mate? Unbelievable, right?
Outrageous. There was this minute-long compilation video of saying Pogba's ready to come back and showing some of his more outrageous tricks. And he won a penalty like that for us recently as well. I can't remember who it was against, but it was just Skin City down there, wasn't it?
Just brilliant stuff. And Bruno, we did discuss who would take the penalties. Bruno stepped up, no hop, smashed it home, sent the keeper the wrong way. Great stuff. 86th minute, Pogba, again, just a majestic half volley ball through to Rashford. Oh, yes, you'd have to say Rashford could have done better with that, really.
I mean, no one's going to tell me that Paul Pogba wasn't ready to start that game, given how well he played when he came on. You know, it's mind-boggling how he didn't come on at half-time. Because you're right, everything just started to click when he came on. And it's farcical to believe that him and Bruno can't play together, because for the 25 minutes we saw them, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and like we said, you've got to put Matic in there to protect them. But if you're going to have Fred, McTominay and Bruno anyway, you might as well have the magic of Pogba in there. It just didn't make sense for me. Bailly replaced... Go on.
I can kind of understand it, because if you think about it, McTominay probably, during training, he's probably tries the hardest out of anyone. So it's an understandable pick to have him in there. And Fred was playing so well before everything halted that I can kind of understand the McTominay and Fred partnership in there, but it's surprising that just where they sort of played, like it wasn't, it just didn't seem like they were comfortable in their positions.
No, and they seemed to be taking a lot of touches on the ball, didn't they? When you think, you could release them out there was an extra touch, an extra 2 touches when, the chance is gone. Danny James, there's no point in playing Danny James on the right wing if you're going to play it into feet all the time. You might as well bloody play Mata. I mean, if he's never going to have a chance to run into space, we never used his pace once, really, do we?
No, I do think you lose so much of the intensity of the game without the fans.
Yeah,
that players think they can afford to have a couple of touches here and there, and the games without fans are really boring to watch. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed is that the Spurs fullbacks, for instance, with fans, the fans would have been urging them to get forward in certain spots, but instead they were just sitting back, suiting Mourinho down to the ground, really. But then the massive talking point on the 90th minute, I thought we'd bloody done it, mate. I really did. From the first shot, I mean, John Moss gives the penalty, Bruno buys the penalty. As soon as it went to VAR, I knew it was going to get overturned. What did you make of it?
Yeah, rightfully so. It got overturned. I was surprised he didn't get booked. I mean, it was a dive. Let's be honest. Or it maybe wasn't a dive, but it was an embellishment of what happened.
He bought it, didn't he?
He did.
He bought it.
He did.
I mean, he said in his interview he thought it was a penalty. Of course he did. And interestingly enough, he said that Rashford would have taken the second one.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that you actually saw Rashford with the ball in his hand, and then the referee took the ball out of his hand to say, no, it's not a penalty. So I don't know if they're just going to trade off.
Yeah, it seems so. I mean, it was a bit heartbreaking, I must say, mate. After the struggle, I thought we'd pulled it out of the pan. I really did, after not a great performance. And then even after that, we had a break on 94 minutes, Rashford, and then we had that Mason Greenwood chance where he looked like he was going to shape to his left, pulled it onto his right. Inches wide, wasn't it?
I thought it was in.
I did.
Really did. That stung more than the penalty.
What did you make of Mason Greenwood's performance? I thought he was absolutely superb when he came
I
on.
thought he was
He
wonderful.
was so strong. I mean, Danny James didn't seem to. He tried his best, of course, but even in defence, Greenwood was better. And just in the way he sparks counter attacks, the danger around goal, he looked really sharp, didn't he?
You know, the physical difference between him before the lockdown and afterwards. He's been hitting the gym. Seriously, he is. They even said he's much harder to get off the ball. He's got added a lot of upper body strength.
Yeah,
He's one that you can see this lockdown has sort of benefited a bit.
yeah. I mean, the disappointing thing, mate, was that at half time I thought, look, there's an obvious two subs here, isn't there? Greenwood on for James and Pogba on for one of the midfielders. And that's what came to pass. You know, Greenwood was shining when he came on. Pogba won the penalty and was tearing it up as well. It seems like a one that got away, mate. I mean, we've got a point with 2 points behind Chelsea now, but it's 2 points dropped in my opinion.
Yeah, it is, and especially because if they win their game in hand now, it's 5 points behind them. It is obviously beneficial that Spurs don't make up any ground. A loss would have been terrible.
Yeah.
So we do have to take that positive, but I mean, yeah, all it takes is a draw against Sheffield United, and we're really in trouble.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is, of course, Sheffield United dropped points too. What do you make of the ghost goal?
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Were you watching live or not?
I was, yeah.
And at the time, did you think it was in? I mean, I did. I mean, straight. You get a sense for it, don't you?
I thought it was a foul because I thought it was so far over that it must have been some sort of foul. And then you see the replay that it was his own man. It was shocking. I mean, you didn't need VAR. You just look at the goalkeeper's face.
Oh.
It was so blatantly in. It was shocking, but it was good for us.
Well, what do you think happened there? Do you think that the ref's watch wasn't on? I mean, they did do the test before the game. They did all the tests. I've seen the video. What do you think happened there? Because Hawkeye haven't really shown anything, haven't they? I mean, it seems a bit suspect to me.
Well, I was thinking about it because their excuse is that the players were blocking sight between the ball and the watch. But if that was the case, and that was the technology we were relying on for goal line technology, there's no way it would have been implemented, right? It's rubbish.
It's rubbish, mate. It's rubbish. They've done tests when they first floated it. They've done tests with people surrounding the ball.
Of course they have to, because half of these come at corners or something like that. It's ridiculous. His watch wasn't on.
I think you might be right because his watch went off at half time. So it's like the phone works, isn't it? If you put it on, then you get all the messages. And apparently got his message at half time. That does make sense. It does make sense.
What? So it just didn't have any service?
No, what I'm saying is it was off. He switched it on, and when he switched it on, it buzzed and said goal.
Yeah, so it was off.
Yeah, I think so.
It's shocking.
Absolutely shocking stuff. And
if Villa stay up by 1 point, or if Sheffield United don't qualify for Europe by 1 point, it's heartbreaking.
For you or for them?
For them. It was good for us, but it's poor.
Brilliant. It was really, really poor. And you know what? I've argued with you about VAR again and again, but goal line technology was my thing. I loved goal line technology because I was led to believe it was perfect. And now we've got a situation where if it's just a bit close to the line and they say it's in, you're thinking, is it really?
Yeah, that's what I mean. As soon as you don't trust it, then it's worthless.
Yeah, really bad.
Because to be honest with you, there have been a few dodgy calls at the tennis where you're like, I don't think the ball actually bounced that far out, or that as soon as you stop trusting it, it loses a lot of its integrity.
Yeah, when Roger Federer doesn't trust it at all.
Doesn't trust it at all.
He says it's a load of old nonsense.
Yeah, and I'm a big Federer fan, so that's probably sways my decision.
Well, I love Nadal, so
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if Federer says it, and Federer's a connoisseur of the game, he says it doesn't work. And when you're talking millimeters and centimeters now, you're going to flag it up. So yeah, weird stuff.
Saying that when he's down a couple of breaks at Wimbledon, he's using the calls, isn't he?
Of course he is.
He uses it.
Unbelievable. But listen, look, we.
However, sorry. Before we move on, I do have to say I think this might be the breaking point in VAR being able to retrospectively call goals, because VAR could have seen that was a goal by a mile, but they weren't allowed to affect the decision, which is ridiculous.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Then they're not allowed to because
Yeah.
there's like four things they can do, and one of them's not goal line decisions, right?
Because he never called for it can't get goal line technology overturns VAR. So this has got to break some rule that can be reciprocated.
Of course it has. I mean, he was staring at his watch, waiting for it, wasn't he?
Yeah, and laughing about it.
Like waiting for a text from his missus, you know.
Waiting for a text like Moisey. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. Talk about Moisey. See, he's been a delivery driver on his days off.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can actually.
Yeah.
Imagine him turning up at your door.
Only ordered a couple of cabbages, and look who showed up. What would you do?
Oh God, I'd have some fun. That's one thing for sure.
Apart from make him unload the groceries.
I certainly wouldn't go wild. That's one thing for certain.
You would. You'd get your Moisey mask out, wouldn't you? Yeah.
You're his fan, not me. Bloody hell.
You'd show him your tattoo on your chest.
Get out down here. I'm meant to be disappointed and pissed off here, you know.
Yeah, it could be worse. We could still have Moisey, so you know it's not the end of the world.
100%. And look, 1-1. It was a tough one. It really was a tough one. Bruno said it was a good result after the break. You got to remember they have been off, but there were certain things that really, really did stink tonight, I must say. He actually said it. He prefers the pressure for a penalty. He prefers the crowd in there. Pat Evra made Bruno man of the match. He said he's in love with him. Who was your man of the match, mate?
I would probably say Bruno. But I think that if Mason Greenwood played another 25 minutes, it would have been him.
Yeah. I'd have to go for Bruno as well. He was the person trying to make it happen, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. He was. Marcus played well as well, but I think missing that early chance got to him a bit, and it was disappointing.
He should have slipped it near post, didn't he? It was a blooming wide open. But yeah, Marcus looked sharp. As I say, Luke Shaw came into his own second half, but first half he was defensively not great. That centre-back pairing is still a worry, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, they do look vulnerable. I think
there's no hard man.
The worry is that Ollie learnt that he needs to protect them with Matic, and then he's forgotten about that. And now, hopefully, that last few minutes is sort of rejigged his memory that you've got to put Matic in front of them because they look vulnerable, don't they? They really do.
Yeah, they do. And I think if you're going to try and get the best out of Pogba and Bruno, you're going to have that defensive cover. I think that's got to be our midfield trio for next game. I think Pogba's got to play. He you're right. He did change the game.
He did,
and in a way that makes me think he could have probably started the game. Definitely come on at half time.
Yeah, and look, Mourinho after the match said, "Look, we set up in a way to make United uncomfortable to do things they don't want to do. Obviously, a low block. You know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, does it? But if we know they're going to play a low block like that, if we know we're going to be vulnerable on the break, which we were anyway, why not start Bruno and Pogba? To me, I think Ollie got a couple of things wrong tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing it safe against a manager who plays it even more safe.
Yeah, he was. And if you're going to do that, at least be tight. At least, you know, the elite team in the day was that we're going to play 5 at the back. At least if we play 5 at the back, or the 3, whatever formation you want to call it, at least then we are tight. At least then we've got the protection for the back. We kind of got stuck between a rock and a hard place, didn't we, really?
We did. And one thing we do have to hope that Ollie gets better at is the timing of his substitutions. Because, 100%. As I say, he makes the right ones. They're just 10, 15 minutes too late. And especially, you know, when we're chasing the game, he needs to have more faith in his execution.
Yeah, you're right. I honestly thought when Pogba was warming up at half time, I thought he's going to come on now. When he didn't, I thought it's going to be 5 minutes. He's just keeping Mourinho honest and seeing if Mourinho jumps first, and he's going to jump on 50 minutes, leaving it till sort of almost 65. 20 minutes later, 25 minutes to win a game. As we said, we ran out of time, and you know, another 10 minutes, and we win that game. And it's just, yeah, he's got to start learning the lessons because it's a thing that we said, didn't we? We said when the 5 subs came out, we said, oh, well, is it going to benefit us? Because Ollie doesn't really like to push the button on subs, and that's what happened.
Yeah, we are only allowed to make them in 3 increments,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's basically the same. But yeah, especially because I mean Dan James had been pretty ineffective for the 10 minutes that before he got subbed, and I just wish it would have happened earlier.
Mate, when they were getting corners on 60 minutes, I was thinking, if they score now, I'm going to blooming throw this glass into the TV. Because I was thinking, please no. Or if Danny James got a red card, because you've already been booked, hadn't he?
Yeah.
I was thinking, come on, just get him on. Look, again, dominated possession, 61-39 in our favour, 12 shots to 10, six shots on target to 3. They had 7 corners, we had 6, 18 fouls, 17. Dominated the stats. Again, we've talked about this before, haven't we? When we dominate the stats, we generally don't blooming win the game.
Yeah, and it's something we've got to learn. We've got to be more ruthless. I thought getting Rashford back, getting Martial back, and I think that maybe we have to start playing Mason Greenwood more, because he looks now that he's physically able to compete at this level, and he scored some absolute belters this season already. He really needs to start playing more than 20, 25 minutes at the end of games.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a young kid, and look, he's had a break too, just like everyone else. He's had 3 months off, and he was just getting into it. He was just warming up, basically. And again, given another 10, 15 minutes, he had them for breakfast on the right.
Absolute breakfast.
Really. It's
Yeah.
I really think the subs cost us today. Big time.
Yeah. All right, well, let's roll on Wednesday.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have Bruno and Pogba in the midfield on Wednesday.
They need to play, really do.
They do. Anyway, disappointing one really, mate, right?
Yeah, I think there were 2 points out there we could have come home with.
Yeah, wait 103 days for that.
Longest we've ever gone without United. I wish. Just disappointed.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, thanks for joining us again, everyone. Get following our Instagram at United100 Podcast for all the latest from the 100% United team. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favourite podcatcher too. We'll be back after the Sheffield United game on Wednesday. Take care. Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.